Shut up and sit down.
Episode 42 of Nobody Asked Us. No one asked us. What's the name of our show? How long have we been doing this, Craig? 42 weeks? Well, no, for
40.
40
It'd be
weeks.
40. Yeah.
40 weeks. And I still don't know the name of it. No one asked us. He's Craig Choate. I'm Logan Lee. Thank you for listening to us, watching us wherever you get your podcasts. We appreciate your support, as always. Love hearing from people. I keep hearing from new people every week that are jumping on the pod, wanting to know when the new show is. People that are excited to hear our reactions about Illinois basketball. So we're gonna have that for you. Don't forget to give us a follow at No One Asks Us Pod on Twitter. He's at Craig W. Choate. I'm at the Logan Lee. Shoot us an email at nooneaskedus2021@gmail.com. And as always, chapter markers will be in the description. So if you don't want to hear us talk about Illinois basketball, then you can skip ahead to hear me rant about the college football playoff or something. We will get to that a little bit later. We are recording this late on Tuesday evening because we decided to wait until after the Illinois basketball game so we could have a reaction show. Glad that the outcome was a little more positive tonight, so that we're not in as bad of a mood as we would have been had it been the other way around. But yes, we will have this show up for you on Wednesday to start your Thanksgiving holiday. Craig, how are you? You good?
I'm fine. I'm not, even though Illinois won, I'm not in a great mood.
Great.
I'm fine. I'm fine.
I love that we're going to have feisty Craig today.
We said last week that we at least needed a 1-1 week, which is what we got. we did get it.
You got it.
Not exactly how we would have liked it to come. So
no.
Yeah,
we'll get to that. We have plenty. Both of us are going to have plenty to say in regards to Illinois basketball. Before we get into any of that stuff, moment of the week. Craig, do you have a good moment of the week this week that doesn't pertain to Illinois sports?
I have 3 written down, and I hate
3
doing
written
this.
down. Wow. So it's now the moments of the week.
Right, exactly.
Got it.
So I don't know which one I'm going to go with. But I'm going to do this.
Oh.
Tiger Woods is hitting golf balls again.
Oh.
Did you see that? He broke the internet yesterday?
No, I didn't. I honestly didn't see this. If he broke the internet, how is it possible that I didn't see it?
That's true. Broke golf
No,
Twitter.
I didn't
How about
see
that? He broke golf Twitter.
Absolutely.
He tweeted a short 10-15 second video of him just on the driving range, hitting some iron shots, and all it said was, I think it said making progress or making some progress.
If that was the case, I'm surprised you're not wearing your Sunday red. I figured this would be a special occasion.
Time out.
Oh, okay. We interrupt this previously scheduled broadcast.
I have never wore this shirt. I was waiting for this special moment to wear it. I'm going to give a preview right now. It might be my favorite shirt of all time.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. That's nice. That's a nice shirt.
Next time he wins a tournament, that thing might get wore for 7 straight days.
But you're not going to wear it until then.
Not until he wins another tournament.
How long have you had this shirt? For those that are listening, Craig just held up a red Tiger Woods tee that he apparently has had for centuries or something that he just hasn't worn before. How long have you had said shirt?
I can't remember when. I was still living in Champaign, so probably 6 months, 5 or 6 months. Okay. I've had it. Just a red shirt with his TW logo in black. That's all it is. I really need to find it. The tweet. I know I retweeted it. But it's just a quick video making progress. That's all it said was making progress. But the funny thing is, he tweeted the exact same video in 2017 when he was recovering from his other injury. And then the next year he won the Masters, or 2 years later, he won the Masters. So,
wait, so the exact same video?
No, Different video, but all it said,
is he making progress or not?
It was the exact same. Not layout. What's the word I'm thinking of? Concept. It was the exact same concept. It was a 10-second video of him hitting one shot, and all the tweet said was making progress. And then he won a major soon after. Okay. So,
well, I have looked it up. That is great. That's exciting. I don't know how I missed it. Yeah. But that's wonderful. That's great. I do have a moment of the week. I don't have 3 picked out like you do.
I only gave one.
I'm not that positive of a person. I don't know that like how great of a moment this was. I mean, you can kind of consider it a great moment, but I mean, Brad Underwood on Hot Ones.
That was one of my 3.
I figured it would be. You can't say it's a good moment because granted, Sean Evans, the host of Hot Ones, is a Illinois alum. Mm-hmm. But the fact that the head coach of the men's basketball team at the University of Illinois was on such a popular YouTube program over the weekend says a lot just about where the program is. I mean, they would have had, Brad on there if Illinois wasn't doing well. So, that was pretty cool. For those that aren't familiar, Hot Ones is a, very popular YouTube series hosted by Sean Evans, where he interviews celebrities, and they eat hot wings with, hot sauces that get hotter and hotter as each question. And then he asks, as I said, he asked some questions along the way. And so, as I think you mentioned it in a tweet, I mean, just this season alone, they've had, Jimmy Kimmel has been on, and Salma Hayek was on, Mila Kunis has been on. I mean, they have big names that go on this show, and the special edition they called it on that they released on Saturday was none other than Brad Underwood. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. I went back and I looked at the most popular videos, the most viewed videos on First We Feast.
Yeah.
Brad Underwood has gone on the same show to the same audience as Gordon Ramsay, Billie Eilish, Shaq, Kevin Hart, Post Malone. Those are their 5 most popular, most viewed videos. And now Brad Underwood is a part of that show. Only positive things for Illinois. Let's see how many views it has now. How many views do you think it has?
I don't know. I have no idea.
265,000 views. So not a huge number because what did Jeremy Renner? Jeremy Renner was released 12 days ago, has 2 million.
Yeah.
So
it was never going to be that. No, they posted that on Saturday. Most of their other ones go up, I believe, on Tuesday or Wednesday. And as you said, I mean, those usually get in the millions. Brad was never going to get that, but still, it's just really cool that they did that. So, as I said, that would not be the case if Illinois wasn't a trendy name in the world of college sports. Obviously, the past week has not been very positive. We will touch on that. I know people are just eagerly waiting for Craig to have some things to say about Illinois basketball. We will get there, I promise you. We're going to do our question of the week though first, real quick, and get that out of the way because we have started doing this, and I think both of us really like this. It's gotten some attention, and we had about 100 people voted on this past week, so that was pretty cool. So our question this past week was, Craig just came up with this on a whim, literally seconds before we started recording.
I feel like once we sent it out there, I feel like I remember tweeting this exact thing a couple years ago from my account. So
you probably did. So we tweeted out, what is the best Starburst flavor? And we gave obviously the 4 options of orange, pink, red, and yellow. Did you expect this type of result, Craig?
No, I did not.
I knew pink would probably win. I did not think it would be nearly as much of a landslide as it was. Pink had 50% of the vote. 50% of the voters, of the 98 people that voted, picked pink. That was pretty impressive. I was surprised that orange was as close to red as it was. So red finished second with 23.5, orange was 17.3, and then yellow had 9.2% of the votes. So what was the most surprising thing to you out of that? Was it pink by a landslide, or was it another order, or what?
What is 9.2% of 98? Is that like
probably like one or two?
Three?
Maybe.
That's the most surprising that yellow got any votes, because I throw the yellow away. They're so bad. They're so bad. Why would anyone?
I don't mind the yellow, but
Starburst?
they're my least favorite.
So I believe those 2-packs you get at Thanksgiving or whatever.
Yes.
I can't tell you how many times I've gotten 2 yellows and threw them into the ground.
Yes.
That will ruin someone's day. 2 yellows in the mini packs.
I believe that I live with somebody that's a yellow person. She also has some interesting tastes in candy. So, but there are people out there, obviously, because 9% of the voters chimed in on that. So, whatever the case may be, actually, what was your vote? It's have to be close to 9.
It's
because
9.
98 is close to 100.
Yeah,
it's close to 9. Yep. Okay, come on. It's not like 2 or 3. It's like 9 people. So, kudos to those 9 people. Whatever. That was last week's. Thank you for everybody that voted. This week. I said red. I go toss up between red and pink most of the time. It just kind of it's one or the other for me. That's why I was kind of surprised that it was pink by a runaway. Yeah. Because in my opinion, I think I could go one or the other, but an orange is a clear 3 for me.
Red is cherry, right?
Mm-hmm.
And pink is strawberry?
Strawberry, yeah.
Okay. That's what I thought.
Yeah. Yeah. I voted red, but as I said, it could be a toss-up for me, red or pink. Orange is a clear third, and yellow. I don't mind yellow. I mean, I don't like getting 2 yellows, in a pack, as you mentioned, but I don't mind them.
Yeah.
But that's cool. Again, thank you for everybody that voted this week. With this being our Thanksgiving episode, here I am wearing my Santa Claus hat on the Thanksgiving episode. It's a very special episode. We're going to go Thanksgiving theme this week. So we were talking about it before the show, and we want to know, this has been, a topic around, and I've seen it, floated around social media and everything. We're going to talk about Thanksgiving sides because, that's what everybody loves to hear about, loves to talk about. It's that time of year. People are going to be filling their plates with their turkey and whatever else their main course might be. So we're going to ask the question, what is your favorite Thanksgiving side? And we are going to give you 3 options, and then we're going to give an option for people to chime in on that. So the 3 options we are going to give are mashed potatoes, stuffing / dressing, whichever you prefer, and green bean casserole. And then we will give the other option as you can chime in if there's a 4th or one that we didn't include that you would like to include as yours. So those will be our 4 options. We'll have that up today at some point when we have the show up on Wednesday, leading into your Thanksgiving on Thursday. Pretty excited to see that. What do you think the results for this are going to be? Do you have any predictions?
I think it's hard to go against mashed potatoes, and the way we do it isn't the best for this kind of question because there are a ton of sides, and we left out a lot of good Thanksgiving sides, so we're kind of narrowing the market here. But I think it's tough to beat mashed potatoes. I'm gonna go with other. I'm a mac and cheese kind of guy.
Do we need to have the mac and cheese discussion?
Yeah, we just had this discussion off air as we were talking about the question. I didn't know that mac and cheese was a debatable Thanksgiving side because my family has always had mac and cheese at Thanksgiving. It's a staple. So the whole mac and cheese debate's kind of throwing me off. I don't get it. But in this context, I think it's going to be a mashed potato landslide.
I would think it's probably going to be that or other, because as you said, I do think there are a lot. As I mentioned to you before we started, I've had this theory about the mac and cheese thing. I think it has to do with how big of a get together you have on Thanksgiving. I think that if you have a lot of people coming over and there's several people that are providing dishes, I think mac and cheese is more likely to show up. If you have a small family get together where it might be only, 3 or 4 people that are providing food, the chances that mac and cheese might end up as a side dish is probably a little less likely, just because I think there are other things that are more Thanksgiving staples. But that's just my theory. And I don't know if that's true or not, but But yeah, mac and cheese will certainly be on my plate if it's available to me, but I don't know that it's always available to me when I have Thanksgiving. So if it's there, absolutely. So with that being said, should we talk about Illinois basketball?
Let's do it.
Do you want to? Do you want to skip this part of the show?
No.
All right. Let's just do it now. Illinois basketball. After the disappointment in Milwaukee last week against Marquette, things were looking up going into this Hall of Fame Classic in Kansas City. Illinois opened up the 4-team tournament against Cincinnati on Monday night. It wasn't pretty. I don't even honestly, it was like a 20-point game by the end. I believe it was like 71-51 or something. I will tell you what happened from my perspective. I was not available to watch this game at the beginning.
Lucky you.
No. I missed the good part.
Yeah.
I checked the score at one point and saw Illinois had a pretty good size lead, and Kofi had already scored like 12 points early. And I said to somebody else that was with me who was an Illinois fan, I said, okay, this is a solid start. By the time I get home, turn the game on the radio, that lead is already starting to dwindle. By the time I get home, there's probably like 8 minutes left in the first half. And that lead at this point is probably almost shot. And then the rest of the night was just awful basketball. So yeah, I missed the good part of the game, unfortunately. Yeah. But that's the way the week started for Illinois basketball. Dropping a game to Cincinnati, an unranked Cincinnati. I have no idea if they're a tournament team, Cincinnati. If anything, probably a bubble team, Cincinnati. It wasn't pretty.
No,
it was just not the way you want that to go. They did, however, turn it around tonight. As I said, we are recording this Tuesday night, and they did get past Bruce Weber's Kansas State Wildcats tonight, 72-64, despite having some injury issues down the stretch. Trent Frazier left the game with an ankle injury with about 7 minutes to go.
I think
in
it's
the second half.
It looked like knee. It looked like a knee to me.
It was something leg related. Andre Curbelo was on and off the court most of the second half with some sort of neck issue. You have any sort of source on what's going on there?
That's what I was looking at while you were leading into the what was going on. From Derek Piper, from Underwood via Derek Piper in the post game, quote, nothing yet on Trenton Curbelo. Said Curbelo has been fighting the head trauma since his concussion. Doesn't have anything on Trent, which that's what it looked like to me. I tweeted in our group chat. I said, is this a Curbelo flu game? Because to me, it looked like he might have the flu. They had ice packs on his neck, and he just looked like he had his head in his hands, like he couldn't see straight. So that makes sense. I guess flu, but it sounds like he's still recovering from a concussion.
So that's not ideal. Not only are they two of your better players, but they're also your two primary ball handlers.
Bingo.
And that's the issue. I think the biggest issue at hand here moving forward. If one or both of those players miss any more time, because the next game for Illinois is on Friday. Granted, it's against a much lesser opponent at home. But Illinois has shown a lot. They have a lot of issues, and we can get into some of those. But I think chief among them right now is they need a third ball handler, and they don't have it. It was that very first game of the year when Trent didn't play and Curbelo didn't play and Hutcherson didn't play. It was a struggle. They still got the win. I believe that was against Jackson State. But DeMonte Williams is not a point guard. Alfonso Plummer is not a point guard. They just don't have that. So, I mean, is that the most important thing they need? No, probably not. They got some other things they need to work on, but if they don't have that, they could be in trouble. Because there's just nobody else on this team. It might end up being Austin Hutcherson, who we can talk about here in a little bit. We finally have gotten to see him play, and he's looked as advertised so far in the first game and a half he's played. But yeah, the whole point guard ball handler situation is definitely going to be something to touch on.
Yeah, all off season we focused on, getting big men. We need a 4. We need a backup behind Kofi, or we need a replacement for Kofi. We need a stretch 4. We need this. And not once did we think we needed more ball handlers. And I don't understand why we didn't think that, because Curbelo is the only true ball handler on this roster. Yes, right. Trent can do it. DeMonte can do it. Hutcherson, we weren't sure because we've never seen Hutcherson play. But looking at the roster, there's only one guy that's considered a point guard on this team. Why did we not see that?
Yeah.
And that, I think, leads to my bigger issue that we learned the past, week now, since the Marquette game and the Cincinnati game. We totally whiffed on this team. We totally whiffed on preparing for this season and figuring this team out. Yep. How did we not see all of these holes? Yep. What we were blinded. We were absolutely blinded by all that this team lost was Io. Because yes, this team lost Io, but yes, this team also lost Georgi Bashanishvili, who was good for at least 20 minutes a game of competent basketball. This team also lost Adam Miller, who was a spot up shooter who could probably handle the ball in this year if we needed him to. And my biggest thing, and I said it again tonight in my group chat, and I tweeted it last night. I tweeted about how we underestimated the impact of Io on this team. But then someone replied to me, and I quoted his tweet, and I agree with him. The biggest loss of the offseason is Steven Gentry. Probably Chin and Orlando as well. Chin, Coleman, and Orlando Antigua. But there is no offensive game plan right now.
Yeah.
They cannot run a set play. They don't have anyone that can get open. They look lost on the offensive end of the floor. They have no one that can coach X's and O's right now.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And I was going to bring up those exact tweets that you mentioned that you had posted last night. Because you're right. All of those things, we totally underestimated all of it. And I think we just kind of, I'm not here to overreact. It's been 2
I was going to
weeks.
say, I was going to say this after you were done.
We're not here to overreact about the future of this season.
Yeah.
A lot of things can go right and a lot of things can go wrong, and a lot of things will go right and a lot of things will go wrong.
Yeah.
Now is not the time to overreact. I know a lot of Illinois Twitter was a little harsh on Curbelo after the Marquette game, and a lot of it was fair. He was trying to do too much.
What was he, 4 for 18? Something like that?
Something like that. There are a lot of issues right now. And you're right. I think the coaching situation, the Steven Gentry of it all, in primary is certainly something. Obviously, Io. The thing that I don't know what's happening here. I get it. Kofi is back, and Kofi is going to be a dominant force. You were lucky tonight that you had the emergence of Alfonso Plummer, who I didn't know if was going to ever hit a 3-pointer for the Illini, and ended up hitting 7 of them tonight. So his emergence is great. It's great to see Austin Hutcherson. On Monday night,
he's a real person, Logan.
Austin Hutcherson is real. I've been worried. I've been hearing this name for 2.5 years. It's Austin Hutcherson. I've seen pictures of him in street clothes, so I'm like, that's not a real player. He's a manager or something. It's a hologram. But yeah, he's apparently real. He can actually do some things, and it's nice to see him. But the couple things that I want to touch on here on Monday night, the game against Cincinnati, Trent Frazier and Jacob Grandison scored a combined 1 point. You also got 2 points from DeMonte Williams. Those are supposed to be 3. And Coleman Hawkins. Yes. Primarily, though, 1 point between Trent Frazier and Jacob Grandison. And then on Tuesday night, Trent Frazier, who then granted does go down with an injury, towards the back half of the second half of the game, regardless, still finished with 0 points in that game. And Jake did score a little bit more towards the end. He did finish with 8. That's not what you want. No. We can say it. We know what Kofi Coburn is. Kofi Coburn is going to be one of the best paint scorers in the country, but he's also going to command a lot of attention. And if he doesn't have players around him that can score, they're going to be in a lot of trouble.
You know what I like tonight, though? And Underwood even stressed it in, I think it was post-game last night. And we talked about it all last year, and we couldn't figure out if it was Kofi being Kofi or the coaches coaching him to do this. But last year, if he got the ball, there were 3 results: made shot, missed shot, turnover.
Yep.
Tonight, I don't remember it so much Monday night, but Tuesday night, Kansas State game, he was looking to pass when he got the ball to post. Yes, and he's going to have to do that this year because he is the only offensive threat that you can consistently count on this team. So his assist to, I think it was Plummer on a 3 in the corner. He got the ball in the post. All 5 sets of Kansas State eyes were locked on Kofi. And Plummer's defender went over to help, and Kofi saw him and threw it out to Plummer or whoever it was, and they made the 3. Kofi is going to have 2 or 3 assists a game if this team wants to win. And I'm very happy to see that he did that Tuesday night.
Yeah, no, that certainly was an issue last year. We talked about it a lot, and he has shown some of that. He's made free throws these first couple games.
Well, until the end of the game.
Well, until the end of the game. He made a jump shot tonight. It wasn't pretty, but he made a jump shot.
Fade away, Jay.
So, you know what? Listen, we can't rely on Kofi Coburn to be the primary guy every single night. They're going to need other people to step up. I know Andre Curbelo wants to be that person. Andre Curbelo, I thought about this tonight during this game. Andre Curbelo was really fun to watch when we weren't relying on him.
Yeah.
Like last season, we weren't relying on Andre Curbelo.
Yeah.
He was the 4th or 5th or 6th scoring option.
Yeah.
He was there to make flashy plays, and he would get to the basket and do some fun things. And it was fun to watch because we were watching the emergence of this player that I don't think anybody really anticipated to happen. And he was on a good team with, an All-American playing next to him and all this other stuff. Now it's a little different. I mean, we know what he is. We know the season he had. We've seen the preseason accolades. It's not quite as fun to watch right now. He's still doing some of the same stuff. At least tonight he was, before he kind of was having some head issues. But it's not quite the same thing. Watching him play.
You want my Curbelo block here, my analysis. I thought of this tonight. Yes, he has been pretty miserable the last 2 games because he didn't play. I guess the whole team started good Monday and then everything went downhill, but he was miserable against Marquette. The reason he was so successful last year was he would start the game, he would make the smart play, he would drive, he would dish. And then later in the game, when he would drive, everyone was like, oh, he's going to pass. They would pass. That's when he would get his points.
Yeah.
He's not doing that this year. He's going straight for the bucket. He's like, he's the opposite. And that's not how his game works.
Yeah.
He is a pass first point guard. Then the points come because the defense adjusts, because they learn that they can't help, the help defense can't help off, because when Andre Curbelo has the ball, if you help off of your man, Andre Curbelo is going to find your man for an open shot. That's not happening this year. And Illinois needs to get back to that, because if he plays like he did last year, the points will come. The points will come. They were there last year. He can do it. He can do it. It's got to his head. And I know it has. I can tell that it's got to his head that he is, quote unquote, one of the best point guards in the country. Right now, he's not. Right now, he's not one of the best point guards in the Big Ten. So if he can get back to it, this team will be okay.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at.
They've collectively, they have some things to work on.
Yes.
And Brad knows that. And I think the players know that. The 3-2 start to this season against this list level of competition is a little underwhelming, to say the least. But it's still early.
I figured they'd be 4-1, so
right.
Not a huge difference, but in the same breath, it is a pretty big difference. If that makes sense.
A lot of things can happen between now and March. So we'll start to just truck ahead and see what happens. Hopefully they can stay healthy. I'm not particularly worried about Friday if they don't have a combination of Trent and or Curbelo. However, Monday will be at home against the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame, who I don't think is that good of a team. In fact, a Notre Dame friend of mine said that Illinois will crush them. To which I said, have you seen the score from Monday night? We'll just have to see what happens there. Hopefully, at least by Monday night, both Curbelo and Trent are back on the floor.
Notre Dame's playing in the Maui.
They are playing in the Maui. They lost to St. Mary's last night, and they played Chaminade tonight.
Okay.
That's what's coming up. Rio Grande Valley on Friday night at the State Farm Center. That's another Big Ten Plus broadcast. I know you're excited about that. And then Monday in the Big Ten ACC Challenge in Champaign as well against the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. That one's going to be on ESPN2. Hopefully, Illinois can go to 5-2 after those two games. That would be a very pleasant change of pace after the last week. But either way, Illinois now 3-2 on the season after falling to Cincinnati and then beating Kansas State before they head into Thanksgiving and then the game on Friday. Anything else you want to touch on basketball-wise? We talked briefly about Alfonso Plummer, who just kind of finally emerged as the shooter that he can be. And Austin Hutcherson, the myth of Austin Hutcherson, kind of finally getting some of his ground as well after missing the first 3 games plus the first 2 seasons. Anything else that's positive or negative notes from the last couple of days?
The biggest thing for me is Trent's health. He came down and I think he was kind of just standing there, and Verdonk fell and kind of slid backwards and went right into Trent's knee, and his knee buckled. I didn't like the look of it. He didn't put any weight on it and was carried off the floor. The initial thought goes to ACL if it's the knee, which that's what it looked like to me. And that's what Underwood said post game. So if it's the knee, but normally I feel like, aren't you like you can still walk with a torn ACL, right? It's just the cutting and the planting. So I don't know. That's going to be a huge factor. Whatever happens with Trent's going to be a huge factor. So we just got to hope for the best there, because the depth isn't what we thought it was. That was one of your big things preseason, was how deep this team was, and we just glossed right over that. That's not the case.
That's not happening. Yeah. No, they've been playing. Tonight they did go 10 deep, but Omar Payne and Bosman Verdonk aren't really getting many minutes. They're coming in there just to give Kofi a little bit of a breather. The freshmen have not seen time. I think Goody might have played a minute the other day.
Goody has back spasms. He missed the last 2 games. But if Trent goes down, if Trent goes down, he would probably get some minutes, because Pajimski is not close, I don't think. No. And Melendez is closer than Pajimski, but not quite as far along as Goody. So
Yeah. So, the Trent thing is definitely going to be something to keep an eye out, and we might know more, by the time the show comes up. But as of time of recording, we don't really know much. So
Yeah.
hopefully hopefully he'll be fine in the long term. Maybe miss a game or so and move on. I think that's being optimistic. We'll just have to see what happens. So, that'd be awful. All right. Anything other basketball related in the world of college hoops that you want to talk about? We have a big game tonight.
I was gonna say huge game starting in about 5 minutes.
Yeah. So we won't, obviously know the outcome of that by the time we're done with this show, but that'll be a fun one to watch. I'll probably tune into that one as I fall asleep.
Did you watch
love West Coast basketball?
Did you watch any of SIU Creighton?
I did not. No.
Okay.
I was not able to watch any of that today.
That was yesterday.
You have It was? Oh, it was yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
You're right. No, I did not. Thoughts on the renewing the Creighton rivalry? Were you excited? Were you still hating Creighton?
I mean, I always hate Creighton, but not as much. We hadn't played them since they left the Valley. And I didn't expect us to be competitive in this tournament.
They were competitive.
Beat Colorado, beat a Power 5 team. Huge win on Friday. And then you turn around and lose to Northeastern. Like, what the heck happened there? That was disappointing. And then you get Creighton and you lose on a buzzer beater, which is just heartbreaking. But I'm still not sold on this Saluki team. In the Valley, I think they'll be okay, but I don't think they're as good as I thought they were going to be. But I like where they're headed. They went 1-2 this weekend with the loss to Northeastern and Creighton, but I like where they're heading in the next year or two, because I don't know how many seniors they have this year, and they played this week without two of their top 7 players. So they got a good thing going down there. It's just, it's going to take some time still to get everything clicking, and we'll see what sort of shape the Valley's in another year or two. Sounds like there's we already know of at least one team that's out, and who knows what happens after this. Could be more teams, could be less teams. Who knows? Do we want to talk about the MVC tiers right now?
Your whole what is it, Grand Canyon University that you're really pulling for?
I don't think we got time for that tonight.
I'll just say this. I understand where you're coming from. I do think it'd be exciting, and I think it'd be great for the Valley. I just don't think it makes a lot of sense for a mid-major conference to have that much of a geographic difference. Yeah. It's one thing. I understand you brought up the whole BYU UCF thing in the American or whatever it is. Yeah, they are a FBS level conference that's pulling in millions and millions of dollars a year because of college football money. The Valley ain't doing that. Evansville is not going to be able to afford to send charter flights every other week out to Phoenix, Arizona for all their teams that are playing there. That's the thing. It's not just basketball. Everybody thinks basketball and football, but there's 17 sports they're trying to field. And I know not all of them are traveling that frequently. I mean, track is doing, big tournament, whatever, meets and things on weekends, but softball is making trips during the week. And if schools are even playing tennis anymore, I don't know. But I just think that's just a little much. I think as much as it sounds great, it's a sexy name. It'd be a lot of fun. I just don't think geographically it makes a lot of sense for a mid-major conference. That's my stance.
I totally agree with you. I just want it to happen. It's not going to, but I mean, I went to Grand Canyon 2 years ago now,
I know.
And it was my college basketball experience will never match that. It was the best college basketball environment I've ever been in.
I'm sure. I would love to see it
for the Antelopes.
I would love to see it. And if the Valley expands west and grabs some other schools, I could definitely see that as an option. But if it's just Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Missouri, Kentucky, and then Arizona, that doesn't make sense. All right, moving on. Let's talk about football. Illinois football goes to Iowa this past Saturday without Coach Brett Bielema, who was on the COVID list. And put up a fight, I would say, against the Hawkeyes, the ranked, I don't know what they were at the time, 15, 17, something like that, ranked Hawkeyes. But they do ultimately fall 33-23. How much did you watch that whole game? Were you tuning back and forth between that and something else? What was your viewing experience?
I watched the whole game. Yeah, I watched the whole game.
Do you have much to say in regards to that particular game? Any notes, any takeaways?
Yeah, I tweeted it. This defense deserves better than what the offense is throwing out there right now. This defense is good enough to win football games, and the offense couldn't beat the Oakwood JV team. It's terrible. It's terrible. It's so bad.
Yeah. And no, it's bad.
And I don't even know how to put it into words. It's like, and I'm no football mastermind, but every Saturday I watch college football teams have wide open receivers consistently that their quarterback can throw to. I don't know if Illinois has had a wide open receiver all season. Like, the receivers are not getting open. So I don't know if it's the receivers not being able to do that, or the plays not being creative enough to get them open. I don't know, because a lot of times, the receivers go out of the screen, on the TV screen when they're running the routes, so you can't see what's happening a lot of the times. I think that's my biggest issue, is there's no creativity with this offense. If the run game's not working, this team's not going to score points. And the run game isn't all that complicated. It's hand off and pick a hole. I mean, it's more complicated than that, but
you're right.
I think it comes down to play design. They're not getting anyone open downfield.
Yeah.
And when they did, Peters overthrew him. There was one. I think he unloaded 2 or 3 times, but I don't think any of them were complete. It's just, I will say Peters has not, what's the word? Not risen to the occasion, but I don't think Peters is losing them games like he was earlier.
No,
it's just the offense is inept right now to do anything.
Yeah, it's bad. We've talked about the running game, who didn't really provide much, but they at least have the ability to. But when your passing game is non-existent, it makes it really easy for the defense to shut down the run game, because they know that you can't do anything in the air. So, Illinois falls at Iowa City, falling to 4-7 on the year. I've gotten a lot of text messages and tweets the last couple weeks in regards to a gentleman on the Iowa football team who shares a name with me. I got another tweet or something that he had sacked Peters and he had scored touchdowns or blocking kicks or something last week in their game. A kid from Iowa, who I believe is from Illinois, from the state of Illinois, I think. Orion, Illinois.
Do you remember?
He was a wrestling state champion.
Do you remember that? I gave you a shout out.
Oh, yes,
I gave you a shout out on
WCIA.
Yes, he wrestled.
You did. I forgot.
Where was he from? Orion.
Orion, whatever.
He wrestled a kid in our viewing area at WCIA, and so I showed the highlight, and I said, "This kid from, I forgot what school he went to, gets beat by Logan Lee from Orion, not the Logan Lee from Oakwood." And I sent it, or I clipped it and put it on social and tagged Logan. Yeah,
I remember.
So I've known about this kid for years.
Yes, I have too. I think because of that. So, but yeah, I was getting a few messages the last couple of weeks about him. So yeah, Illinois drops to 4-7 on the season after the loss. They now put their sights towards Northwestern this week. This will be Saturday at 3:30 on Big Ten Network. Illinois can go for 5 wins.
Yeah.
Is that going to get them in the bowl game? Where are we at with that scenario? I know that was the topic of conversation around Illini Twitter last week. I know we touched on it on our show. I have not seen anything else from that.
So
is it still a possibility that a 5-7 Illinois team could play in a bowl game.
A ton of the Illinois media members did this math and broke this down. I read Robert Rosenthal's article on IlliniBoard.com. He's very in depth. I know a couple other people have this broken down, but basically he came down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 17 things need to happen. But it sounds like a lot. It sounds like a lot, but it's just certain schools beating other schools. So basically, first of all, Illinois has to win. Illinois has to beat Northwestern to get to 5-7 to be bowl eligible, although they're not really bowl eligible. I think it's pretty set in stone that there aren't going to be enough 6-6 teams. So there are going to be 5-7 teams. So then it goes to APR, academic progress rate, which Illinois took a dip recently, and they're going by the 2019 APR because of COVID and all that. Everything was different. So they're going by the last normal year APR. And currently, I think there are 4 or 5 schools ahead of Illinois at 5-7, but there are also a couple of schools at 4-7 that if they win and get to 5-7, will jump ahead of Illinois or something like that. It's weird, but there is still a couple of people said a likely chance that if Illinois gets to 5-7, that they could go to a bowl. And remember, another point, teams can turn down bowls. So one of those 5-6 teams is Florida, or no, 5-5 teams, 5-6. Yeah, 5-6 teams is Florida. So if they lose and they're 5-7, they could still go to a bowl, but they just fired their coach. Are they going to take that month under an interim coach to go to a low-level bowl game? Or are they just going to be like, no, we're good this year. We're going to move on to our coaching search. You know, would Texas at 5-7 take a low-level bowl game being Texas and their brand? Probably not. So it's still likely. Let's just hope for an Illinois win, get to 5-7, and see what happens. One of those actually that we needed to happen was tonight. Let me check. Go ahead.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Yes.
Okay.
So one of those was Illinois needed Buffalo to beat Ball State, and Ball State is beating Buffalo 20-3 right now. So
got it.
Bad things for Illinois right there.
All right. Regardless, Illinois has to beat Northwestern if they want any of this to even be a possibility.
Yes.
Which is certainly within the realm of possibility. Northwestern is not very good. Northwestern lost this past weekend at Wrigley Field, of all places, to a fairly decent Purdue team. But either way, that will be the regular season finale for the Illini. And then potentially a bowl game after that, but chances are probably not likely. But yeah, that's how the Illini will close out the regular season this Saturday against Northwestern. And then they'll set their sights towards rebuilding that offense this offseason. Any other Illini football notes that you want to touch on in your Rolodex of tidbits?
I mean, I just want to beat Northwestern. We haven't done it since 2014.
Yeah. It's been a long time.
Lost 8 of the last
9. Yeah, 8 of the last 9.
I just want to beat Northwestern. That's all. It's just like growing up, we always looked at Northwestern in any sport as the doormat. And it bothers me that they're not anymore.
Yep. Yeah, that would be nice. So it'd be nice for all of Illinois sports if they can get a win there, and because basketball surely needs some momentum. So maybe it'll carry over. Either way, that is Saturday at 3:30 on Big Ten Network. Illinois Northwestern. That one's in Evanston, correct? This game is
it's in Champaign.
Is it a home game? This is a home game. Okay. Yeah. Was Northwestern's last home game at Wrigley Field? I didn't even think about that. Was that their last home game? Yeah. Wasn't even at their normal stadium. Oh, interesting. All right. Other Big Ten scores from Saturday. Kind of as to be expected. It was pretty much chalk all the way down the list. Minnesota beat Indiana 35-14. Penn State beat Rutgers, shut out Rutgers 28-0. Purdue, as we mentioned, over Northwestern 32-14. Wisconsin barely got past Nebraska 35-28. Michigan big over Maryland 59-18. And then it was chalk, but I don't think anybody expected a total rout. Ohio State over Michigan State 56-7. Did you expect 56-7 in that outcome? I mean, I know we obviously expected Ohio State to win, but
no, I expected 55-7.
55-7. Got it. Okay. And then yes, Iowa over Illinois 33-23. Taking a look at the standings in the Big Ten, entering into the final week. Ohio State still 8-0. Or is 8-0, still hasn't lost a game in the Big Ten. They play Michigan, who is 7-1. Winner of that will play for the East side in the Big Ten championship game. Michigan State is 6-2, Penn State 4-4, Maryland and Rutgers are 2-6, and Indiana is 0-8. Those are all Big Ten records. And then on the West, it's still Wisconsin and Iowa. Wisconsin is 6-2. And Iowa is 6-2. Who do they play this week?
Ooh.
Iowa is at Nebraska. And Wisconsin is at Minnesota.
Yeah.
And then who won their head-to-head this year? Was that Wisconsin? We had this discussion last week. I feel like we had the same exact thing last week. So Wisconsin has the head-to-head
20-0.
So Wisconsin, if they win, they're in. If they lose, it could be a tiebreaker scenario. So, they're both 6-2. Minnesota's 5-3. Purdue is 5-3. Illinois 3-5, and Nebraska and Northwestern are both 1-7 in the Big Ten. So, yes, Ohio State or Michigan versus Wisconsin or Iowa will be the Big Ten championship game in Indianapolis here in a couple weeks. We'll have to see how this week goes just to figure out who that's going to be. It's probably going to be Ohio State, Wisconsin would be my guess. Power rankings. Did you change anything this week?
Made one change.
Did you?
Yeah.
Interesting. I also made one change. Yeah.
Okay.
But it's just one of those things. I don't really, at this point, who cares?
Okay.
We know that Ohio State is obviously number one and will remain number one.
Yeah.
You can pick 2 and 3 however you want. I mean, I went ahead, switched them again. I put Michigan over Michigan State just because Michigan State just got routed by Ohio State. But as I've said a couple of times, Michigan State beat Michigan a few weeks ago. So whatever.
I think that gets thrown out the window after what Ohio State did to Michigan State.
I think it does. I think it does now too. Yeah, for sure.
So that's
the only thing I switched. Well, I switched 2 and 3, which is what you already had. So, what did you switch?
I moved Michigan State too. I moved them below Wisconsin.
Moved them down.
Yeah.
Interesting. I probably should have done that too. I honestly didn't really think about it. Yeah, I probably could have done that.
Yep. So I've got Michigan State at 4 and Wisconsin at 3 now. Yeah, everything else is the same because, like you said, when you were running through the scores, it was a pretty chalk week.
Yeah, it was all chalk.
No reason.
I didn't change anything else. Yeah, you could certainly make an argument for 2, 3, 4 in various orders. So, yep, that's fair. Totally understand that. In terms of the college football playoff, we're actually recording this show after the rankings have been announced.
You should see the smile on Logan's face right now.
Normally when we do this, it's before and we're just having to assume and then we don't really get to react. Cincinnati's in the 4 right now. Can you believe it?
What did I tell you?
Can you believe it?
Can you tell me I was right? Can you please tell me I was right?
Craig, I'm just going to say this right now. The season ain't over. I am not ready to give you victory yet. And here's why. Here's a couple scenarios for you. Because yes, Cincinnati is currently in the 4. I believe the order. Did Ohio State jump Alabama?
Yes.
Did I see that right? So Georgia's 1, Ohio State 2, Alabama 3, Cincinnati 4, and then I believe is it Michigan 6, Michigan 5, Notre Dame 6, I think.
Yes, which is exactly what I have in my rankings. I did my own rankings this week.
Yeah, I did as well, and that's I think exactly what I had too. A couple things though, because I understand what you're saying. This now means apparently everybody's saying this now means Cincinnati, if they win out, they're in the playoff. I don't know that is. I don't think that's necessarily the case. Here's my thing. Yes. So Georgia, Ohio State, Alabama, and Michigan control their own destiny at this point. Last week it was Michigan State and not Michigan, but this week it's now Michigan and not Michigan State. So, because if Michigan beats Ohio State on Saturday, which they likely won't, and then they go on and beat Wisconsin or Iowa in the Big Ten championship game, they're in the playoff.
Yes.
So they control their own destiny. So those 4 teams do. Cincinnati does not, even though they're in the Final Four right now. I do not believe they control their own destiny because I think there's a chance Oklahoma State gets in.
There is.
Would a 1-loss Oklahoma State team get in over a no-loss Cincinnati team at the end of the season after they have won the Big 12 championship? They have beaten Oklahoma probably twice in a row, or Oklahoma and Baylor at the end of the season. If your options are an undefeated Georgia, a 1-loss Ohio State,
Undefeated
I guess in this
Cincinnati,
scenario,
1-loss Notre Dame. 1-loss Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
You would probably have to put a 1-loss Oklahoma State in.
Yeah.
Because that would mean they beat Oklahoma this week and they beat Baylor the next week, which would be a top 10 team if Baylor gets by Texas Tech.
Right.
So that's 2 top 10 wins in the last 2 games. I mean, that would be a tough debate.
I want to see Cincinnati in the playoff. I think Cincinnati deserves it. I think we've waited too long for a non-Power 5 school to not be able to get in. I want to see them in there. I don't care that they're probably going to get routed because, to be honest, everybody's probably going to get routed against Georgia and Ohio State. We just saw Michigan State, who was number 7 in the country, get rolled by Ohio State.
Cincinnati almost beat Georgia last year in the bowl game.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. That'd be great. Would love to see it. The point is, I get that they're number 4 right now, and everybody's having a hullabaloo about that, myself included. I do not think that this is set in stone. I think they need several things to happen for them to finish the season and get into the playoff. They obviously need to win out. They probably need to handle Houston pretty confidently in the championship game, or whoever they end up playing. They need Alabama to lose, but I'm not totally sold that a 2-loss Alabama team's out. I've seen that show up a few times. I don't know how likely it is, but I would not rule that out.
I would not rule out. Has never made it.
I'm just saying I wouldn't rule it out. Look at some of the people that do this stuff for a living on the internet. Look at what they say. I've seen it. I'm not saying I support it. I'm not saying it's definitely going to happen, but I'm just saying it's certainly out there. No. Here's the next question. What about a 1-loss Cincinnati team?
No, they're done.
Let's say your options are, let's say you have undefeated Georgia, you have 1-loss Ohio State, and then you have 2-loss Alabama, you have 1-loss Notre Dame, whose loss is to Cincinnati. You have 1-loss Oklahoma State, or you have 1-loss Cincinnati for your 2 spots. Where are you going?
Oklahoma State.
Okay. So you're going to go
and
2-loss
Notre
Alabama,
Dame, Alabama, or Cincinnati?
Yeah. Notre Dame's schedule, they have not beaten anybody, and
they haven't beaten anybody. Their losses to Cincinnati. I would probably go.
You're going to do it.
Notre Dame. I don't. Why? You can't throw a 2-loss team in there.
Okay, then why is not Cincinnati? Cincinnati beat Notre Dame, so their only loss of the season is to Cincinnati.
Notre Dame's loss would be better than Cincinnati's loss.
I just don't understand why head-to-head is not a thing. Why do people not care about head-to-head? Like, if head-to-head doesn't matter, then why are we playing the games to begin with? That's what I don't understand. I'm not saying you're wrong because I think that's what's going to happen. I just don't understand it.
Because Notre Dame would have lost to a top 10 team, whereas Cincinnati in this case would either lose to a terrible East Carolina team or a 25 ranked Houston. That's a worse loss than Notre Dame's loss, even though their loss is to that other team.
I think it's stupid. Regardless, it's still a scenario. All right, whatever. We'll move on. I think there's about 7 teams left. This week we lost Michigan State, Wake Forest, and Oregon. RIP to those 3. Georgia, Ohio State, Alabama, Cincinnati, Michigan, Notre Dame, Oklahoma State still in the mix. Technically, maybe Oklahoma.
Why do you say technically? If they went out,
I don't know that they do. I don't know that the committee has not loved them all season. They've been low every single week. So yes, from a technicality standpoint, sure, but I don't. Yeah,
if they win 2, that knocks Oklahoma State out. They jump them. They would jump a Notre Dame team, right? A one loss Oklahoma with those 2 wins jumps. Notre Dame.
No, you're right. I think they're both there. They're both in the mix.
If Michigan and Ohio State, one of them have to lose, so jumps them, and then Cincinnati loses, they're right there in the top 4.
Yeah. No, you're right. They're certainly right there in the mix. So yeah, there's like 8 teams left.
Just making an 18 playoff
regular season. Yeah, well, that would solve a lot of problems. Okay. Well, that was going to be a great transition into a division that does have a bigger playoff. But before we go to that, there was an extension in the world of college football and coaching news. This happened today. James Franklin got a 10-year extension at Penn State, a week after the Michigan State extension to Mel Tucker. And then he goes out. Is that
official? Did they make that official?
I don't know. That's what I thought I had seen. But then they got destroyed. So I don't know. Maybe not. Regardless, Franklin was in talks to potentially take over a number of these other big programs that were, that don't have coaches right now. And Penn State said enough of that talk, and we're just going to extend you up through 2031. So good for him. Good for Penn State. He's obviously a good coach. He's been in high demand. They want to keep him there. So good for Penn State.
Good for James Franklin.
Yeah.
Good for James Frank. What I don't understand signing anyone, player, coach, professional coach, or professional player to a 10-year contract. That's way too long. What if in year 2, 3, and 4, he goes 2 and 10? You still got 6 years of this guy.
I know. It's a long time.
It might work out for him. He's a pretty good coach. I looked it up. 4 of his 8 seasons, he's been above 500 in the Big Ten. So that's not like 6 of 8 or 7 of 8. That's 4 of 8. Yeah. So he's not that great.
No.
So I think it's bad business on Penn State. This could come back This could come back to bite me in 6 or 7 years, but I think it's a terrible contract for Penn State. Even worse for Michigan State. What are they doing?
Yeah. Some questionable decisions have been made around the Big Ten in football the past couple of weeks. So we'll have to see how those go. I'll have to reach out to the Penn State faithful to gauge the reaction from the fans to see what they think. But so that happened. FCS playoffs is what I was trying to transition to. A division that does have a bigger playoff. That playoff was announced this week. The Salukis, who had a great start to the season and then just kind of spiraled out of control, barely squeaked into the playoffs. And now we'll see one Valley opponent in the first round. And if they win, they get a second Valley opponent in the second round. For those that are unaware, the Missouri Valley Football Conference is the cream of the crop as a conference at the FCS level. And I don't know how many schools they got in this year. It's usually like 15 or something. 5, was it 5 this year? Okay. So, and Southern was one of them.
6.
Okay. I was going to say 3 of them were in that one quadrant. So yeah, Southern did get in. They will play, was it South Dakota State, South Dakota,
South Dakota.
In the first round, and then they would get North Dakota State in the second round if they were to win that. Southern, who hosted Youngstown State on Saturday, and what should have been an easy victory for the Salukis to clinch their playoff hopes, potentially even get a home playoff game, lost to the Penguins in unceremonious fashion. And barely getting into the playoffs. So that's, they got in. So good for them. Good for Nick Hill and company to get into the playoff. Not the way you wanted to end the season. Did you watch any of that game? I know you texted me at one point to let me know that, friend of the pod, Bryce Williams, was on the call. Yeah. They pulled him out. They pulled him out of the ticket booth. I went back to the beginning to see how they did this. No, I went back to the beginning of the broadcast just to see what was going on there. I know they've had to dig a little deep into the depth chart for the broadcasting duties, because I know Mike Reese was down with the basketball team, and Connor Onion's been doing stuff with ESPN. So Bryce had to, as soon as he was done with his ticketing duties, it sounds like he then had to jump up into the booth with Mike Trude and help call Illini Football on ESPN Plus. But did you watch much of this game for Southern?
So I started watching the beginning, and I noticed that Trude was the only voice I heard, but I didn't know what was going on. And then they got down, I think it was 14-0. Yeah, I turned it off early when it was 14-0. And then I went back to check back in, and I heard Bryce and Youngstown scored again or something. I was like, all right, I'm done. I'm not watching. So I turned it off. So I didn't watch hardly any of that on Saturday, because I figured with a loss that they would be out of the playoffs. So I was like, all right, I'm done with this, whatever. I'm happy we're in, but come on, selection committee. What are you doing? You're purposely knocking these MVC teams out of here. Come on. I forgot about the selection show, and I saw Paul Pabst, fellow Saluki alum. I saw him tweet about it. So I was frantically trying to get it on my TV, and it wouldn't work on my TV after 3 tries. So I finally pulled it up on my computer. I saw the whole left side of the bracket, and then they went to commercial, and then they went to the right side, and I saw a 6-5 Northern Iowa team got in. I was like, oh God, they're taking Northern over SIU because Northern beat SIU or something. And then SIU was the second to last team called. And I jumped up and screamed. I was like, yes, and scared the dogs. And then an hour later, I saw the Saluki Athletics tweet out their reaction video, because how college basketball teams do on Selection Sunday. And 2 of the players stood up and clapped. Everyone else was just kind of sitting there just clapping. I was like, you guys just made the freaking playoffs after losing 3 of your last 4 games. You should be excited. And they were just whatever. So I don't know. It bothers me that we're playing an MVC team. That's all I'm going to say.
I agree.
I feel like in the playoffs, you should do your best to avoid that. Although the 2 teams did not play in the regular season. Right.
SIU
did not play.
Rule.
SIU did not play North Dakota State either. Yeah. So
that is the rule. And I did read that as well. So as long as the teams don't play during the regular season, they're basically fair game to play in the playoff. One other Southern Illinois note, I'm sure he's never listened to our podcast, but Todd Hefferman leaving the Southern Illinois.
It's
a big day. He's been covering Saluki athletics for a long time. So, best wishes to him on his future endeavors. But just thought I'd bring that up since, it's Todd. Good guy. All right. Let's do picks. How about we do picks?
Yeah.
We got a week of college football coming up. Last week,
I threw a lot of picks in here for us this week.
I saw that you picked some really bad games too. So last week we tied.
It's rivalry week.
We went 10-3. Yeah, I know. and some of these are bad games. We both went 10-3. That's what happens when you pick the same games. You're going to go have the same record. So I still have a 5-game advantage on Craig. I'm 121-48 on the season. He's 116-53. And as I said, we both went 10-3. I went 7-0 in the Big Ten this past week. Craig went 6-1, 4-2 nationally, and then I went 3-3 nationally. So this week, let's just run down our list. Rapid fire. Let's do this thing. Starting with the Salukis, as we mentioned, going to South Dakota, the first round of the FCS playoffs. Do you think Southern advances, or are they sent home early?
I've lost all confidence in this team. I normally watch every week, and there's going through the motions, but in the playoffs, I can't pick against them. So I'm going to take SIU.
Such a homer. Yeah, me too. Go Dogs. Yeah, go Southern. Why not? Okay. Oregon hosts Oregon State. This is the Oregon team that fell this past week to Utah. It is now out of the playoff picture, all things considered, and everybody would assume, and I don't imagine they have any scenario of getting back in. So they host Oregon State. Do you think they get back onto it and win this week, or do they fall again?
Did you watch any of Oregon, Utah?
Yeah, it was ugly.
Oh, Oregon played so bad.
It was awful. Yeah.
How did that team beat Ohio State? That's what I want to know. How did that happen?
They looked really bad. Give
me the Beavers.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you're that confident, huh?
I'm doing it. Yeah.
Good for you. Go Ducks. All right. Florida State at Florida. I was taking Oregon for the record. Yes, your rivalry week picks continue. Florida State at Florida. A couple of 5 and 6 teams. What team in the state of Florida has the best record this year? Is it UCF? Do they have a better record than 5 and 6? How's Miami doing?
I think so. Miami's 6-5. I think they got bowl eligible last week.
The whole state.
That's a great question. I have no idea who's the best team in Florida.
Up in flames. Florida or Florida State? Who you got?
Florida fired their coach. Dan Mullen.
He did. Dan Mullen
is out. I don't think Florida State is happy with theirs right now, but at least they have a head coach. So I'll take the Seminoles on the road.
Okay. Good for you. I'm going to take Florida at home just because I can. Are you going to the game in Louisville that we're going to pick? The Kentucky Wildcats head down the road to Craig's neck of the woods to take on the Cardinals. Do you have your tickets purchased to see?
Haven't decided yet. Haven't looked at the weather. I think it's going to be pretty cold. So
it is November.
Yeah. Haven't decided if I'm going to go.
Okay. Well, who you got?
Did you watch any of Louisville Thursday night? Because they looked amazing. Albeit, they were playing Duke, who's not very good. Malik Cunningham is the first player in ACC history, only the second player ever to throw for 300 yards and rush for 200 yards in the same game. He was electric. Give me Louisville. Rocking with the home team.
Rocking with the home team. I will also take Louisville.
Ah, dang it.
We've picked different the last two. It's okay. It's okay. I'm going to take the Cardinals as well. Kentucky started the season off hot, but I don't think they win this one. Yeah. The Iron Bowl. Alabama, Auburn. Bama's 10-1, now number 3 in the country in terms of the college football playoff poll. Goes to Auburn, who's 6-5 on the season. Does Alabama pick up their 11th win, or do they fall and theoretically knock themselves out of the playoffs?
No.
And I say theoretically.
Alabama big. Auburn lost their starting quarterback.
Alabama big, he says. You sound confident. I will also take Alabama. Roll Tide. Ole Miss and Mississippi State. Ole Miss is 9-2 on the season, ranked 12th in the country, according to this. I don't know if that's currently accurate.
9th.
They're 9th now. And then they go to Mississippi State. This one's Thursday night, Thanksgiving night, to be specific. competing against the Thursday night NFL game. That's interesting. Interesting decision on their part. Ole Miss or Mississippi State? Who are you taking?
Lane Train. Rolling
Lane Train all the way.
Yeah. Although
okay.
I don't know that Lane Kiffin's going to be in Oxford very much longer.
Nope. I don't think he will. Where do you think he ends up?
Florida.
Which of the many you think Florida of all the jobs that are going to be open? You're taking Florida.
Where do you think?
I'm just asking the question. I don't know what I mean.
A lot of talk between Florida and Miami, but Miami's not open right now. So
yeah, Florida probably makes the most sense, but I will also take Ole Miss. I think they're the better team there. And then Bedlam. This one's a big one. Both of these teams still, again, theoretically in the hunt for a spot in the playoff. These teams will play this week and then potentially play again in the championship game, I think.
Yep.
I'd have to see how the tiebreaker works out.
Oklahoma State's already clinched.
So they're in regardless?
They're in regardless, yeah.
Okay. So either way, Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. Who are you taking?
This is a tough one.
Yeah?
I don't know. Where's this at? Where's it at? Oklahoma State. I am going to go with Oklahoma on the road.
Oklahoma.
Give me Boomer.
Road.
Yeah.
Boomer Sooner.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the Pokes. I'm going to take the Pokes at home. Oklahoma State has been the better team this year. Oklahoma has not been great. I think Oklahoma State still has a shot to make the playoff. They both technically do. And I think Oklahoma, because it's certainly in the conversation, but I think Oklahoma State is more likely to get in at what would be 12-1, maybe than Oklahoma would be. So I'm going to take Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State. I think I took out a syllable. All right, move to the Big Ten. Iowa goes to Nebraska. Iowa with a win. They also need Wisconsin to lose, but Iowa's in the hunt for the West Division title and to play in the Big Ten championship game. This one is on Friday night in Lincoln. Who are you taking, Iowa or Nebraska?
So when the lines came out, the Vegas lines on Sunday, Nebraska was like a 3-point favorite. And as we talk on Tuesday night, Iowa is now a 1.5-point favorite. So something's flip-flopping there. Actually, I know. Adrian Martinez is not playing. That's what it is.
There you go.
So give me Iowa. I was about to pick Nebraska, but give me Iowa.
Your own question. I'm going to take Logan Lee in Iowa. I think they win this. Don't know that they'll.
Are you going to become an Iowa fan? Are you going to become an Iowa fan and get a Lee jersey?
No, not at all. No, I'm not. Although I love the wave. I love the wave.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll take Iowa. Indiana goes to Purdue in West Lafayette. This one's at 3:30 on Saturday. Do you think the Hoosiers finally get a conference win? Or do you think Purdue takes care of business at home?
Yes, your second question.
Okay. Yeah, Purdue. I will take Purdue as well. Indiana's terrible. Maryland at Rutgers, battle of the two East Coast teams in the Big Ten. Who are you taking there?
This is a tough one too.
Is it?
This is one that I think
2, 5, and 6 teams.
So crediting my source here, Robert Rosenthal says go Rutgers beat Maryland as far as Illinois' bowl chances.
Oh.
So give me Rutgers.
Okay.
He also said, and I meant to look this up, he also says go Florida beat Florida State. Oh. So that's on the list as well.
All right. Interesting. I'm going to take Maryland. I think Maryland's the better team, even though Illinois needs Rutgers to win, but Illinois has to win. So there's that. Wisconsin at Minnesota. Who are you taking here? The Badgers with a win secure themselves as the champion of the Western Division. With a loss, they would also need an Iowa loss. So do they win and get in?
They've figured things out. Yeah. Give me Wisconsin.
They're good.
They figured it out.
They struggled out the gate, but they're pretty damn good now. I'm going to take Wisconsin as well. Michigan State, off of their trouncing They got trounced in Columbus.
Yeah.
Now they host Penn State. A couple of head coaches that potentially might have been signed to large extensions, although I guess one of those is not confirmed. Who are you taking here? Penn State is 7-4. Michigan State's 9-2.
Michigan State's reeling, huh? Dropped from 3 to 12 in a matter of 2 weeks, right? Was the Purdue game the week before? Ohio State?
2 weeks before.
2 weeks before. Give me Penn State. Go on the road. The energy of Franklin's extension. Like you said, 2 coaches that are locked up now, I think. Give me the Nittany Lions.
Wow. Okay. I'm going to take Michigan State. I think they aren't certainly not number 3 and probably not number 7, but I think they're pretty darn good. I'm going to take Michigan State at home. The big one in the big house. This one is the noon kickoff on Fox. Winner goes to the Big Ten championship game and keeps their playoff hopes alive. Ohio State, who is now number 2 in the country after routing Michigan State, goes to Michigan. Both teams are 10-1 on the season. Ohio State has yet to lose in the conference. Michigan does have 1 loss. They lost to Michigan State. You taking Ohio State here, or are you going to go against the Tide? What's the spread here?
I was going to touch on that.
Oh, I figured
you know me. I look at these.
I do.
I don't bet them because I can't in Kentucky, but I look at them. The opening line was Ohio State. What do you think?
14.
7.5.
Ugh.
So
I don't think Michigan's that good.
No, something's fishy there.
I mean, it is at
because it is at Michigan, but
Jim Harbaugh really
they win
needs
by
to win.
20. I think Ohio State wins by 20.
Really needs a win. I'm with you. I think it's probably at least a 2 touchdown game.
So can you be a voice of reason with me here? Because I'm going to be in Illinois starting Wednesday. So I will be able to bet on this. Can you convince me not to throw massive amounts of money on this line?
Jim Harbaugh needs a win.
Can we trust Jim Harbaugh to get the win?
No, we cannot, sir.
You're doing a terrible job of convincing me right now.
Because I don't want to convince you.
All I want to do is cross the Ohio River tomorrow night, Wednesday night. And I just want to throw like my life savings on Ohio State. Because I think this is the most obvious. I feel like this is the most obvious line I've ever seen. Ohio State's going to win this game by 3 touchdowns.
Michigan hasn't looked terrible. They looked bad against Michigan State.
Who have they played?
Nobody.
Exactly. They have played no one. The only ranked team they played, they lost to. Yeah, the only ranked team they've played, they lost.
So you're taking Michigan?
No. Not even close.
Okay. I'm not going to convince you otherwise because you should definitely put money on that. I might do it myself, and I don't even bet. Ohio State by at least 2 touchdowns. And then the other big one, Illinois hosts Northwestern. Does Illinois get their 5th win to cheapenly get themselves potentially into a bowl game, or do they lose to Northwestern yet again and make you sad?
Is this big noon kickoff, or is this
no
ABC game?
No, 3:30 on Big Ten Plus.
Yeah. I think this is the year Illinois gets the hat. They get the hat back. I've thought that a couple times in the last couple of years, and they haven't done it. I was going to say something else, and I can't remember. But yes, I'm taking Illinois.
Okay, good for you. I'm going to take Illinois as well. Would love to see it. They're the better team. If their offense shows up at all, they'll win. They'll win by a couple touchdowns. But if the offense doesn't show up, then they'll probably lose. So that's what it comes down to. We at least had a few different ones this week. So maybe Craig can close the gap, or maybe I'll expand it even more. I assume we're going to keep doing this during the championship week and
champ week and then
bowl games.
I don't know if we'll do all bowl games or not.
Okay.
We probably shouldn't do that, but
all right.
We'll see how the ball schedule plays out.
Any other college football notes that you want to touch on?
Are we going to do no one asked us?
Are we going to the Big Ten championship game in Indianapolis?
No, if Illinois is there. I was going to say, are we going to do no one asked us on location when Illinois makes a bowl game?
Where are they going to be playing?
Probably in Detroit, the Motor City Bowl or something.
Detroit, maybe. Yes, sure. Why not? Let's do it. We have nothing better to do.
I feel like I need to start writing stuff down because I feel like I just saw something that I wanted to bring up real quick and now I can't remember it. So let's just keep going.
Because it probably wasn't all that important.
Yeah.
MLB free agency. Big kind of surprise extension out of Major League Baseball today. The young prospect, I guess he's not technically a prospect anymore, Wander Franco of the Tampa Bay Rays, who just came up this season for his first season in the big leagues, already signed an extension, and it's a big one. I believe they signed him for, was it 12 years?
I think
a 12-year contract.
I think it came out to 11, didn't it? Didn't it? 11 for 184, 184 guaranteed, something like that.
Has agreed to a 12-year contract that guarantees him around $185 million. The deal is worth a maximum of $223 million. This is according to ESPN.com is where I'm getting this source. So, Wander Franco, who hasn't even played a full season in the majors yet, got a big old extension. This is coming from the Rays too, that don't normally do this kind of thing. The Rays don't really like to spend money, so they know what they have with Franco. I'll tell you a brief little Wander Franco story. So as you are aware, I spent some time working in minor league baseball, and every team has prospects. Obviously, every team has a prospect that some of the fans will know. The weekend that Wander Franco was in town with I would believe it would have been the Bowling Green Hot Rods. It was a circus. It was an absolute circus. The amount of people that were there just to get his autograph. Like, we had to send security and like police officers down to the dugouts, like before the games, because people were just lining up to get his autograph. Like, we always had autograph seekers come out to minor league baseball games. I had never seen anything like the Wander Franco circus. I mean, it, like, for that entire series, it was like that. It was crazy. But the kid's legit. He's a shortstop. It might eventually be a second baseman. I don't know, but the way they're signing him, they probably plan on him being a shortstop long term. Either way, good for him, man. Kid still has braces. Like, I just think that's hilarious. Like, nothing against braces, just like he's still a kid. Like, he's 20 years old, and they've already signed him to this huge extension. So good for Franco. Good for the Rays to actually decide to spend some money. Has there been anything else baseball wise? The Cubs did make a trade for Harold Ramirez, the other Ramirez from the Cleveland Guardians, who are officially the Guardians now, not Jose Ramirez. Ramirez.
That was my other moment of the week. Was the Guardians are official? So now we've touched on all three of my moment of the week.
Touched on it all. I don't think there's been anything else baseball wise to touch on. NBA, the Bulls. Bulls are still rolling.
Clint Frazier released by the Yankees.
Yes, and Rougned Odor, I believe, also. I love Clint Frazier. I mean,
I do too.
Ginger, red hair. I was mad the Yankees made him cut his hair, and then he just never really got a chance there. And now they just cut him. So I hope he finds a good landing spot.
Is he a fit for the Cubs?
For the Cubs. The Cubs need left-handed bats. They need a lot, and I would love Frazier, and I think he would work, but they need a lot more things.
Seems like you guys had a left-handed bat named
several left-handed bats.
Oh,
which one?
Kyle Schwarber.
Yeah, and Anthony Rizzo.
Anthony Rizzo.
I would not be surprised if Anthony Rizzo comes back. That's the one that or Javi. I don't know. Either one of them potentially could, but yeah, I don't want to talk about that. But yeah, the Bulls are rolling. The Bears fired their head coach, or probably going to fire their head coach. It sounds like. The report was out that the Bears are going to fire Matt Nagy after this season, or after this game, I guess.
Thursday.
That was the report. After the Thursday Thanksgiving game against the Lions, the report said that they were going to fire him then. But then he said in a statement or in a press conference or something that he wasn't getting fired. I don't know. It sounds like a mess. Either way, he's probably out the door.
The report said that the Bears have told Nagy that he is getting fired after Thursday's game. So someone asked Nagy in a press conference, and I guess he said, no, that's not true.
Of course he's going to say that.
Why would you tell someone you're going to fire them before that game?
We haven't really make any sense. We haven't really talked much NFL on this show. We've had a lot of other things to talk about. Do you have any, we're a little past the midway point in the season by now, but do you have any NFL thoughts? What's happening with the Buffalo Bills? They were supposed to be this team. It's supposed to be the Bills and the Chiefs in the AFC. The Chiefs have been bad. The Bills just got rolled by the Colts. I just happened to turn that game on, and then I looked at my fantasy team, and in my league that I really needed to win in, I was playing against Jonathan Taylor. You scored 5 touchdowns, did not get a win. I just texted my buddy that I was playing against. All I said was LOL. He's like, Joe Mixon might have a good day for you. He had a decent day.
He did,
not enough to make up for that. I don't know about the AFC at this point. It's kind of a crapshoot.
Yeah.
But yeah, we haven't really talked much NFL. The Bears have been kind of hit or miss, but they need to figure their stuff out.
Yeah, nothing.
I think all the good teams are pretty
Cardinals,
much in the NFC.
Yeah, the Cardinals, the Rams, the Cowboys, Buccaneers, I guess, are pretty good still.
Packers,
yeah. I think that's about it.
The Rams keep adding to their team.
I think the Patriots are just as good as anyone in the AFC.
Patriots have been a surprise.
Yeah.
Mac Jones might be the rookie of the year. Your Bulls are the talk of the town.
Yeah,
they are. They're looking pretty good. They got trounced by, I believe, the Pacers the other night. But
that was, I saw. I think it's the guy Eli. I think his last name Schuster, writes for Bleacher Nation.
Yeah,
Bleacher Nation Bulls. I think he tweeted last night. I think it was him. I'm sorry if it's not. That you can't read too much into that loss because the NBA scheduled them for back-to-back games the day after they got back from like a 7-game West Coast road trip. That's not their fault. They're just tired. But I think they're still top of the East, which is awesome.
Yeah, that's good to see. It's good to see. They've been fun I tuned in a couple times, and it's just kind of fun to watch them. I know you were complaining because you're not in the market anymore. I guess you got to get League Pass.
I'm not paying $120. I can't bring myself to do that. I'm sure I can find an illegal stream somewhere if I really wanted to watch, and I think, and I don't know how much they do this, but I'm sure ESPN or TNT can add some of their games, right? Or is it pretty well set in stone?
I'm sure they will. They probably have some of that flexibility. So, all right.
Two things that I wanted to mention before we left.
Yes.
Cincinnati is currently beating Arkansas in that championship game of the Hall of Fame Classic that Illinois was in. Take a guess at the Gonzaga UCLA score. It's almost halftime.
36-35.
Well, you got the one number right.
Seriously? Great.
It is 36. Gonzaga has 36. UCLA has scored 16 points.
Oh, okay.
What did we
Remember
say?
what I said about Gonzaga having a tough schedule?
Remember what we said about UCLA? They're not the second best team in the country. They just went on a magical March run. We should have mentioned this at the top of the show when we were talking about this. Dickie V's on the call.
Yeah, I know. I wanted to watch that. Obviously, we've been doing this. We've had more important things to do, but love Dickie V.
Awful announcing. Do you follow the Awful Announcing Twitter?
I do.
They've been tweeting videos of it. He's crying. talking about coming back. And then young Gonzaga and UCLA fan showed Dickie V a never give up jersey. And he starts crying again. I mean, I can't wait to go watch
I'm going to do that as well. I had some, as a young child, I had some probably negative feelings towards Dickie V.
Yes.
He was very much ACC biased, and there was a lot of that going around, but that's not really, I don't feel the same way anymore. He's a great ambassador for the game of college basketball, and glad to see him back out there after all the stuff he's been going through. So excited to tune into that and see what happens in that second half and check out some of that. But anything else from the sports world that you want to touch on before we have a couple other things and sign off for the night?
I think I'm good.
No,
I'm sure there are, but I can't think of them.
You were tweeting about soccer the other day. I saw football. Excuse me. Football. Are you familiar with the word?
USA or
I don't know.
Was it today?
You tweet a lot. I don't freaking know.
Chelsea won today 4-0 over Juventus.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Champions
Congratulations.
League, so,
Good for Chelsea. Masked Singers tonight. Obviously, you weren't watching that. Did you have any things you want to chime in? I did see. I did know. Nights. I literally saw something on TV earlier. Whatever, not important. I did know the last person. I did see that reveal. I didn't watch any of it.
I think there was two.
To see. I saw one person. I follow him on Instagram, and I did see who it was, because I follow him. I didn't watch all of it, but I do know.
Was it?
Yes.
Which character? What costume?
I have no idea. I don't know.
Well, I got my first one right for the season.
He has the same initials. His first and last name are the same initial.
Okay, I did not get that one right. I got the other one right.
Do you know who that person is?
I did after they showed him.
Okay.
After they put up his lower third.
Do you watch that show?
No.
Okay.
No.
I didn't know if that was a show that was on in your house like it is mine.
No. I got the other one. There was two revealed.
I didn't know the other one.
I got the other one. And I called that one a couple weeks ago. I could tell by the cadence in his voice and a couple of the clues. So that was my first one right of the season. Normally I get 2 or 3. So I've been off my game this year.
Congratulations. Do you need to vent about Survivor? Is it still rocking your socks off?
No, it's whatever.
Okay. Couple movies that I did see over the weekend. Tick, Tick, Boom is wonderful. If you are at all into it's really geared towards people that have an appreciation for musical theater. I'll be honest. But it's a wonderful, wonderful movie on Netflix about the life of Jonathan Larson, who was the creator, the writer, and everything of the musical Rent. It's a great show. Lin-Manuel Miranda directed it, and Andrew Garfield stars in it, sings, acts. He's wonderful. And then Ghostbusters Afterlife also came out this past week. Went to the theater to see that. You haven't seen this, I assume, right? You probably didn't go to the theater to see Ghostbusters. Yeah, I wouldn't blame you. I didn't dislike the movie. I thought it was fine. I'm just not really sure what they're gearing towards, who they're gearing for. They were really trying to reboot this, I think, for a younger generation. I think it was mostly for younger kids, families, that type of thing. I enjoyed it. It was a good time. But yeah, that was the other big one this week that I did get to. So a couple decent ones, but yeah. So that's, I think, where we're at. Anything else? We talked for a while now. We're over an hour and a half. Do you have anything else you want to touch on before we shut it down? No? You're ready to go to bed?
I'm ready to watch the end of this game.
Is it past your bedtime?
No.
Getting past my bedtime. I'm kind of tired. All right. I think we're going to close it down for the night. Thank you, everybody, for listening, for tuning in, wherever you get your podcasts, wherever you're listening to us, whether it's on YouTube, Twitter. Nope, that's not a thing. Apple, Spotify, whatever. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in. Give us a follow on our various social media platforms at No One Asks Pod, at Craig W. Choate, at the Logan Lee. Shoot us an email if you have any questions, want to send us a comment or whatever the case may be. No one asked us 2021@gmail.com. Comment, like, share, subscribe, all that stuff, please. It definitely helps us out. I think that's about everything. This has been episode 42 of No One Ask Us. We will be back next week. Not sure when. Illinois plays on Monday night again. Could be a Monday night show that we release on Tuesday. Could be a Tuesday show we release on Wednesday. We don't really know. We'll get it out to you whenever we get it out to you. So thank you for your patience and thank you for listening. For Craig Choate, I'm Logan Lee. We'll see you next time. Happy Thanksgiving. Bye.
Where's the countdown?
It's Thanksgiving. I'm taking it. I can take a week off. Okay. Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving. Bye.